Greece by promising to rewrite the terms of Greece's international bailout. Syriza remained firmly ahead of the Conservative Prime Minister and his party throughout the election campaign. With dramatically different views, the party is expected to alter the course of the country's struggle with crippling debts. A total of 7 parties will end up making the 300-seat parliament. I'm joined now by Phil Giurlando. He is a European politicians expert and an assistant professor of political science at Trent University. He joins us from our Toronto studio. Phil, great to see you and to talk to you once again. So,
great to see you too.
Syriza has won. What does this mean? What do you make of the results?
They were better than expected from Syriza's point of view. The polls in December gave it a slight lead over its rival, the centre-right, and the polls from 3-4 days ago gave it a maybe 4 or 5% lead. From what I've just seen, it has a 9% lead, and it may obtain 151 seats in the legislature, which would allow it to form a majority, which would be very, very significant for Greece and for Europe.
Okay, so obviously Greeks sending out a signal all over, at least the Eurozone, saying we want change. Part of Syriza's pitch was that they had some plans to get some of their major debt written off, roll back on unpopular austerity measures, and now that Syriza's won, how do they go about doing that? Is that even realistic?
Well, they have to negotiate with the creditors. The creditors are represented by the Troika, which are ultimately backed by Germany or German taxpayers, to be more accurate. And so when they negotiate, they are going to state their position, which is that austerity has been an utter failure. And they're right, it has been an utter failure. Since Greece adopted austerity measures, things have only gotten worse. When I was there in 2012, it was an utter disaster. There were close-up shops everywhere, unemployment, homelessness, suicide, crime, all these things, and things have only gotten worse. So a change of policy is required. The question is whether Germany will allow it, and that is, at this point, it's difficult to predict, because in Germany there's a party that called Alternative for Deutschland that will capitalize on any flexibility towards Greece. So if the German government decides to compromise, the politics will probably go into a more anti-Euro direction in other countries, especially Germany, and this will further weaken the euro.
And speaking of other countries, Syriza win. What does this mean for other places where they have these populist parties, like Italy and like Spain?
That's right. So if Syriza is successful in its negotiations with its creditors, this will undoubtedly strengthen Podemos, which is an anti-austerity party in Spain. There will be an election in Spain at the end of this year, and Podemos is first place in the polls, and they will only do better if Syriza has some success. Spain, their economic conditions are almost as bad as Greece's. There's like a 26% unemployment rate overall. For youth, it's 50 or 55%. And so they also want to put an end to austerity. Italy also has an anti-Euro party called Movimento 5 Stelle, which is MF5 in English. The country to watch is France. In 2017, France is having elections, and Marie Le Pen's National Front, which is very anti-Euro and anti-Germany also, if they win the election in 2017, there will probably be a referendum in France on whether to stay in the euro. And the French have a history of voting against Europe during referendums. If that happens in France, the euro's finished. It's finished.
Well, there's so many implications of this win in Greece, so the world is certainly watching on this one. Phil, thanks for your insight. Appreciate it. Always great to talk to you, Phil Giurlando.
Likewise, thank you.
Political science professor at Trent University.